So many years ago, and I don't remember exactly how many, I was resting and awoke and was in a space that I could not name. In the space that I was in, there was thousands of voices speaking at the same time in different languages. And my first thought is, where am I? What is this? And instantly, with that question, I knew that I was in what I can only name as the realm of prayer. That I was hearing prayers that people were speaking from all over the world. And I couldn't identify a particular language. It was just so many voices and so many languages at the same time. And the next question that came to my mind was, how do you hear just one prayer? And in asking that question, all of a sudden, I zeroed in on one prayer being spoken. One voice, one prayer in the midst of all those thousands. And though I did not understand what to do with that space, where that space was located, I understood that people all over this world are praying, and that every single one of those prayers is held in that space and heard in that space and responded to from that space. I think I spent a little more time in there, and then I was no longer in that space. But I took away from that knowing, like I said, that every prayer is held in a realm, heard in that space, acknowledged in that space. And so years later, of course, I'm listening to Carol Lawrence, and she's speaking on what is God. I long ago had to give up the term God, right? Because for me, it was so convoluted with religion and what people said it meant and how punishing and how this and that. And I was just like, I'm just going to have to let that word go. So I replaced it sometimes with other words like, universe or source or, what is it even? And the beautiful thing is we don't have to know or understand a metaphoric word. That it was just perhaps the space of all of us. Because where she ended up was where God is us in oneness. And that we kind of make God from our beliefs about God. And to really get clear on our beliefs of who God is. So I left her live and I thought, I'm going to go take a shower. So I was walking up the steps and I was like, I don't understand. Why am I thinking about prayer? So I shoved it aside, right? Because I know better. I was like, okay, it keeps coming to my mind, this prayer. And I got to the top and I was getting ready for the shower. And I began to think about asking. And I was like, no, not going to ask. Because, asking gets into, begging or hoping or pleading. And, when you're asking, it's like, well, who am I asking? And what am I asking? And this who that I'm asking, how do I know that it's the right who to ask, and how do I know if it's the right place to go? And that had stopped me from really deeply praying because I had already become aware that, this position of, please, please, please wasn't the position that I wanted to be in. Although there have been times in my life where I was like, please, 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 it seemed outside of my control, and whoever's in control, please let me make it through this. Let me have this. Let me something. But again, I felt the nudge, ask. And I was like, I don't want to ask. And this is what our minds do to us, right? I don't want to ask. I don't want to beg. And it was like, there's something in the asking. So I was like, oh man. And so then started kind of like, okay, what would I pray for? What would I ask? And that was one of the important steps. So step one, listening to yourself, your desires. What are they? What would you ask for? Because prayer is an internal dialogue with yourself. And that line came later when I was talking to another woman at the gym, and I was telling her I was going to do this live. And she said, oh, I love prayer because it's my chance to get to know me. Her name was Janice. And she said, I get to know me. And she said, I lived my whole life not getting to know me. And there's so much to know. And why did I wait? And prayer is a part of that internal dialogue to know myself. I was like, wow. So I give her credit for encapsulating the concept of that search inside of yourself as prayer, that internal dialogue. Because what does it make us do when we go in and we think about what is it that we really want? What is it that we would speak to? You have to look inside yourself. Reach in there. Listen to you. You have to vet through what's important to you. What's the desire of your heart? And I felt risk at that time because what if I don't get it? What if it's not given? And I almost wanted to shut down again because it's almost better to not have asked than to not get it. I felt through that fear of asking and not receiving. As you begin to approach prayer, you're going to have your fears kick up. And just notice them, because that's an important part too. Not only knowing what it is that you desire, but knowing where those fears are that you may not get, because that's interfering with that opening to receiving. So I moved past that. I was like, all right, I'm going to go for it. And so the next step, identifying, asking, all of that relating to who? Not relating to anybody else, but relating to myself. So I'm relating to me and my fears about what I'm allowed or not allowed, or what I might get, what I might not get. And so I came up with a prayer, a desire. By this time, the water's warm for the shower and I'm about to get in. And I stepped into the shower. I've identified it. I've said it. What next? Do I just release it? Where does it go? What happens? And then there was this awareness to be grateful. That gratitude was so important. Even if you're grateful to yourself. And I could feel that because I was grateful to me. I was grateful that I had taken the chance, that I was exploring prayer again, that I would take the time to listen to me, what I wanted, what was important. Because we don't always get that, do we? We don't always give it in listening to another, and we don't always receive it. And I can't control others, but I can take the time to listen to me, to hear me. And so I was grateful to me in that moment, even if it was only to myself, about this prayer. And what's the importance of gratitude? Where does it place us when we feel gratitude? It's sort of a knowing, to be grateful. It requires the awareness of our connection, that we're not here alone, just making it on our own, that we don't need anybody else, that we're not interconnected. And not that need anybody else in that needy, like, oh, I've got to, and you're required for and I need to control you so that I get. Not that kind of need. But that we are not here existing without connection. Because once you step into gratitude, you step into that awareness of our interconnectedness with one another, with all that is. Gratitude is a beautiful portal into oneness. That I function in harmony with you. And in that state of harmony with you, I'm in harmony with myself. And that there's nothing between me and the desires of my heart. That they are harmonious, moving, touching one another. That my receiving takes nothing from you, does not take from you to give to me. That I receive as a function of the movement of the interconnected universe. And that I receive based on what I desire, how I've listened to myself, how I've appreciated myself, what I've heard from me, and that is in harmony with all that is. And that gratitude is so sharing. It wants it not just for myself, but for you. My gratitude brings me into that portal of oneness, where all things are possible simply by letting go of the fears of asking. There's nothing wrong with asking, because the ask comes from clarity. And then my prayer became a statement, wrapped in gratitude, aware of my connection and the harmony. And then I wanted to know what else. It became a pleasure to get to know what is important to me. This movement in harmony and graciousness. This request wasn't a beg, but an opening. I'd like to open the door to relationship that's in harmony with me. I'd like to open the door to career, whatever the door is that you would want to open. That's the ask. I'd like to open that up. I'd like to hear me. What is it? What would bring me joy? What would be sustaining? And in this interconnected space, that's not a beg, but is harmony. How does this flow and work in? Because I could feel in that moment, well, what if I want this? It's not in harmony. It's all in harmony. What you desire does not derail anything for someone else. And there is a harmonious answer to the desires that we have, because it's like a part of the song. Do you get that? It's a part of the song. And when you sing that note, the universe harmonizes. And together, that interconnectedness, that gratitude. And when we ask, we're not in that place of hoping that lesser position, will I get, can I have? It's just a part of the song. It's not heavy. It's not a question. It's the note you're to sing, the note to be fulfilled. And you know, when we sing, we're not always perfect, right? We don't always hit the note exactly as it is. But in harmony and in connection, we can raise that note to its highest vibration. That request perfects, even if we started out a little flat. Maybe it wasn't 100% our desire because we're not used to asking for that. But you start somewhere and you ask and you sing that note. And the universe joins with you in harmony. And you find the purest sound of that note. And you sing it. And it shifts from a request to part of the sound of the harmonious universe. It's not a beg. It's an important insertion into the music and the sound and the song. So I was grateful. Grateful that I was a part of an interconnected whole. That my voice, my song, my note was so important. So I had taken the time to listen to me, vetted it to the point, listening so deeply that I knew the song that I wanted to sing, and I sang it. Grateful to be in harmony with the universe. But it didn't end there, because in that portal to oneness, through gratitude, I felt now who and what responds to this. Simply beyond singing the song and the note and the harmony and the universe joining in to support that song. Because the other thing that I was aware of was the equality. Who do you see your equality? You're not begging, but you're right there shoulder to shoulder with all that is. And that choir of all that is. You're right in line. It's an important piece. So there's this equality. I began in that oneness to see myself. I was looking at me, and I loved me so fully. I was so happy for me to be singing my little note. And as I looked at me, I saw past all my faults that I would have thought interrupted that song. I'm not the perfect singer. I may not get the note just right, but it was like sing, sing. And I sang. And as I sang, something was looking at me with so much love. And the more that I allowed myself to be loved and see through those faults, that lifetime of crushing statements, of not being good enough, and those fell away, suddenly something was very beautiful, more than enough, perfect as it was, with no changes. And the more I could receive that love, the more I became this beautiful mirror reflecting back. And it became then a desire to reflect back to what was looking at me. I wanted it to know how much I loved it, whatever it was. And the more I loved it back, I could feel both the receiving of that love from myself back to what was loving me. And there was this acknowledgement in the back and the forth of the receiving and the loving. The more I looked at me and loved me and allowed that for myself, the more that mirror that I am reflected back to what was looking its own love and its own depth. And in that moment, all that is was being acknowledged. That which loved me was receiving that same love back to it. And how many times does that happen? And this back and forth of recognition. And the more recognition, the more equality. And the more equality, the more recognition. And this loop just kept happening. It kept building. And the gratitude within it to recognize that it saw me as love and I saw it as love. And we both were loving. And in that we both were grateful and forgiving. If forgiveness is even necessary. For what? For this, to be in this moment. To feel that love, to self-recognize. And as the equality and the sharing, that I was getting to love the universe, that the universe had been waiting for me to recognize how amazing I was so that I could turn back and love the universe, to recognize how amazing it is and how beautiful is that. And in that moment, what would I deny myself? What wouldn't I give myself? What prayer of mine would I not answer? Because see, you're that too. You're listening to you, recognizing you, and responding to you. That your prayer is as much to self-recognize that you're also praying to you because you're not separate. So what would you deny you? What would you not give you? What would you not receive? See, is there giving or is there only receiving? Because there's this land, this place, this song where there's fruit on every tree. But yes, there is giving and receiving. Because this is wonderful for the tree to give you the fruit that you want to pick. And it says, taste me, I'm delicious. And you do. And it's so wonderful. And it would ruin the taste of it to be like, I don't know. You get this fruit from the tree and you look at it and you go, well, I don't know if I could have that bite, if I'm good enough for that bite. Do you see how that wilts the fruit? How unnecessary it is. So you pluck that fruit and you enjoy the skin on it. And you look at how beautiful it is and you thank with gratitude that tree. And that tree in that moment is recognized for its beauty and it's loved. And 10 more fruits pop out on it because it's so fostering to have that experience. And that's abundance. You taking a fruit doesn't take it from anybody. And you unwrap it and you taste it. You taste how it feeds you. And that's that prayer. When you pray and you receive, you feed you. You feed that connection. So you taste it. It's delicious. You appreciate and you thank. And that's prayer. And when you receive and you're thankful and you're grateful, see, part of it is training the mind to be blown away that the universe, that you would fulfill your desires. The universe will give to you an equality to your perception of yourself. And I feel the fears of, oh my God, what if I don't see myself that way? And then I'm still not going to get. And it's letting those things go. Because right now, every tree is available. Every taste. And it's from this space of that equality that you pray. That gratitude opens the door to. And you pray from that equal space. Not afraid. Not concerned. Of course. Of course. Because when you feel that balance, because equality is balance, you feel that balance, you know that what you request is coming. You relax into the trust. In fact, isn't it already there? It was just waiting for you to get to know yourself enough to search the desires of your heart, to listen to you, to ask, to be grateful, even if just to yourself, for asking. And gratitude opens the door to the recognition that the universe, that you're one, not alone, and not in control of it all, that you're singing a note of harmony, that your song is equally important, in fact required for the overall symphony. And that in this equality, of course, doesn't matter. Just taking it and tasting it. And also knowing that even though the answer is of course, that there may be a time in it coming together, and that's okay. It's already there. So operating from the fact that it was just waiting for you to get to know yourself, to ask, because what a beautiful, beautiful exchange it is to ask and to give. Don't you love it when someone you love says, I would like X, and you can fulfill it? Absolutely. If you love them, you do. You want them to ask so that you have the opportunity to share. And they're not begging you. You don't want to be asked in that lorded over them space. You want to ask in that equality, in that connection. You want them to ask with excitement. And you're like, just wait, it's coming. I got you. I'm going to make it happen. And that's you in your equal relationship with the universe that is responded to with harmony. And that there is that realignment and harmony for the perfection of the answer. Because of course, when you love you, you want you to be happy, to be gracious. And as that comes into you and your mind begins to have this relationship, how beautiful. The extension of that generosity, that gratitude, that connection. That not only do you get excited about seeing you happy and fulfilled, you want it for everyone else. And it's possible because as that gratitude, that harmony, that connection, that sharing, that space, that love, that mirroring back, because then when you receive it, oh my gosh, thank you. But thank you and not that, oh, thank you. Oh yes, that is so gracious of you. But that, oh my God, thank you, is exactly, or oh my God, it's not exactly what I wanted, But it's even more. It's better. It's in harmony. It's in harmony with the places that I wasn't singing to yet. Because it opens you and opens you and opens you. And it takes nothing from anyone else. And in fact, there's so much that engaged exchange creates more. Because boy, can't you feel that flow? And it's just dripping off of you. And you get to be gracious to others. And not gracious in that, oh, I have, so let me give you a little. I mean, God, not that at all, is it? You don't want to screw it up with that at all. It's like, of course, darling, I love you. Then the universe enjoys the heck out of you acknowledging who you are so that you can acknowledge more deeply this amazing universe. Because the more you see your equality, the more in balance you are. And the easier it is to recognize the true desires of your heart and speak them into existence with a request or an ask, but also you're speaking it into existence. But you know you. You took the time to hear you because you're worth that. Hear the desires. Request because it does something for the mind, the human part of you, to watch all this happen. And for the mind, it's completely like, how is that happening? How does it work? And you, the being, is working with your acknowledgement of your own existence, of you, your gratitude for your interconnectedness, for this harmony, your singing, your self-recognition of your equality, of how much loved you are, and how much you love this universe, and you exchange that, and this song comes together. And it's fun to blow your own mind, because there's something to that, to the pleasure of speaking it and then seeing it. Because we all need a little reminder sometimes. And so I was very grateful, say, to the exchange that I fought. Remember, I didn't want to think about prayer. Prayer had hurt me. That's just a barrier. It's a beautiful song that's being sung. And there's notes we haven't hit that come through you. Sing in gratitude. Become the balance. Sing, my friends. Sing. I love you.